Hi, who's in with me?
This is Mai.
Hi, Mai, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Got a couple of co-hosts. Who's in?
I don't know yet because it's not. I'm changing names.
Okay.
I will be going on live in 8 seconds.
Okay, I'll be right there. Mind you start, I'll be there. Don't worry. Hi, everyone, and welcome along to the Market Analysis Show. It's great to have your company today. Nice to see Chloe and Julian in the show. Really, we'll be going to them to have a chat reasonably soon. Before we do, my name is Paul Bottrell. I'm the trading mentor for Actions to Wealth and Online Trading Profits. And I'm going to take us through some Forex Factory news, have a look at a couple of charts. Chloe's in today. She's our visiting expert. She'll go through 4 charts. Looks like Julian may hang around and do a guest spot as well. And we'll have the rest of the team in sharing their trading knowledge over the next hour and a half. A couple of things to remind you guys at the start of the show. First and foremost, welcome along. It's great to see so many of you in. Had a record week on new sign-ups on YouTube, Facebook, all the social media stuff. So if you're new to our show, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. You've got an hour and a half of full-on market analysis coming over the next hour and a half. Lots of experts talking about lots of topics. Make sure you get in and enjoy it. And if you haven't been able to see this live and you want to watch the recordings of it, I encourage you to try and get through the recordings before market open tomorrow morning. Now, the week ahead of news, we start off with Australians joining New Zealanders on daylight savings. It's always nice when the Australians catch up with us. We always like that stuff. We really do. And the Chinese are still on holiday for a couple more days. I think that's the National Day observance. ISM non-manufacturing PMN comes in Monday, but really we're a little bit quiet for news Monday. We're starting to see a little bit more coming through, and these are Singapore times. The Aussie cash rate comes out Tuesday morning. Not expecting any changes in the rates there, I wouldn't have thought, but we'll watch that statement closely for hints from the Reserve Bank of stuff to come along. And the annual budget release comes out from Australia as well, and that will be watched carefully. ECB President Lagarde speaks. President Lagarde has been busy in the last week. We'll be interested to see what she has to say. Speaks again later in the day. Fed Chairman Powell again on Tuesday night, Singapore time. That'll be Wednesday morning, New Zealand. China's still on holiday on Wednesday. Lagarde speaks again. FOMC meeting minutes comes out Thursday morning, Sing. And we've got Bank of England Governor Bailey speaks, and Bank of Canada Governor Macklem speaks. And the Canadian employment change. So a reasonably busy week on the news, but I think that for me, the news that's not on Forex Factory will remain watched very closely by the market is the overall health of President Donald Trump. I expect, like everybody really, that Trump will have good days and bad days, but I expect to hear news during the week that everything is well. And news contrary to that may cause a little bit of a stir along in the markets. Going to have a quick run through a few charts before we get over to Chloe to do her four currency pairs. And it'll be Chloe's last show with us for a little while. She is off for the birth of her baby son, I think, from memory. Bitcoin, look, Bitcoin here, starting to put in some, it's a bit of a triangle pattern. We've got the bigger triangle here. We've now got another lower high here. Looks very indecisive to me. We'll be looking for some interaction off this trend line during the week. Nasdaq again, has gone from putting in lower high, lower low, double bottom, higher low, and really some form of bounce around this level would be interesting technically for me at this point. US 500, not quite as clear for mine. We've got lower low, lower high, lower low. Still got a lower high here, and still looks more bearish to me. And for the Nasdaq and the US 500 to be, the S&P to be out of sync is a bit unusual, and I think that we'll see these pictures cleared up in the week as far as direction goes. Dollar yen. We've talked a little bit about this level on dollar yen throughout the last couple of weeks on the market analysis, and really we're still hanging around here. And we've seen with a lot of these products, we've seen the bottom of some form of range, a move down, some form of retest to this area, and we really need to clear out of this area to be clear on direction. We've been talking about XTI all week. We did say that it would hit the top of this range and come down to the bottom of the range. I think if you were listening to the market analysis Monday, Tuesday, you'll have heard that stuff pretty clearly. But we've said it all week. So if you've been listening to us during the week, you should have got some money off at the bottom in here, and the rest of it should be coming off Friday night or coming off on Monday morning. Euro, well, again, Euro, a lot of these are doing this. Here's our range. There's the break. There's the retest. And we are sitting back inside the bottom of the range at the moment. Look, as long as we're inside the bottom of that range, I'll be looking for a bit of a move back into the range. Really what I'm looking for is a close below and a suggestion we're going to put in a lower low and see some direction come into this. Alternatively, this could be a false break here, and we could well be heading up the other way. That'll do me on these. We're really here to hear from other people on the experts in the show at the moment. I'm just going to check on who's around. Perhaps before we get into too much, a quick hi, Chloe. How are you doing?
I'm really well, thank you, Paul. How are you?
I am really well, Chloe. It's so nice to hear you say that. What are we, 2.5 weeks from due date?
We are exactly 3 weeks from due date.
Fantastic. I think it'd be nice if you gave birth during the original show, the market analysis. We're going to come to you in a little while and have a look through some charts. But first, I'm just going to ask Julian, are you with us? I know Julian's in the room, but he's either muted and talking to us, or he's just away from the screen.
I am indeed talking to you, and I am indeed muted as well too.
It's a normal thing. We are used to that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, which I haven't done. May, have you started sharing this to other? May, have you shared this out to? May, have you shared this out to social media?
Yes, I have.
So, okay, so we are on YouTube, we are on Facebook. It's wonderful to have May in the room. May's helping us to run the show. She'll be doing the comments and social media, letting us know if you guys need anything. So one of the things I'd like to ask, if you'd like any analysis done on any particular currency pairs or products, type it into the social media. You can do it in the room on Zoom. If you're not in the room, you can do it on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll get the team to have a look through it a little bit later on. Julian, I'm aware that it is 20 past 10 at night in New Zealand already. So even before we go to Chloe, I would like to give you an opportunity to jump in and to say a few things and share anything you want to share before you get some sleep in the new house in New Zealand.
Thanks, Paul, and I won't take up everybody's time for very long. Look, guys, I think for me this week is probably going to be a week of dominated by news, I guess we could argue. There's some president somewhere who's got COVID, I think. I can't remember who it is, though. So I suspect that he will lead the news as we go through the week. But for me, the real key thing here is nothing's going to change unless it's very, very serious. At which point in time, if that is the case, then I think asset markets will struggle. They'll probably be a lot weaker, and I would expect the dollar to rally and possibly gold to go up, although I'm not even sure about that one. So normally in these situations, golds tend to be correlated as downside as well. So I think with that in mind, my thesis for the week is that I think the US dollar is going to see some strength. But from a trading perspective, that only works when we start to see significant levels broken during the week. So possibly I'm going to be eagle-eyeing the weekly lows of last week in possibly the Aussie and the Kiwi, and looking at dollar yen as well too for some follow through if the dollar continues to strengthen. And that's pretty much my view for the week, to be honest with you. But it has to actually happen. So bear in mind, I'm not really a US dollar bull. I'm a US dollar bull if it starts to happen. Because I think it's quite a bit more room to move this week. I think last week appeared to be a consolidation week, and as a result of that, we saw a lot of the currencies rally back. So that's my thesis for this week. We'll see what happens.
Sorry, Julian, I have been just trying to get Geoff a link. He's having some problems getting in. Your thesis is dollar strength on evidence. Is that right? We're looking for some confirmation of it. Then we're looking for some dollar strength, right?
Yeah, exactly. Look, I think, trying to trade stuff is, it's all very well to say, okay, great, I got it right, the dollar's going to strengthen, but that doesn't really count for anything unless you've got the trades on. And therefore, trade location is incredibly important. I don't think this is one of those times when you can go, oh, yeah, I'll just go sell Aussie on Monday morning because, right? So I think you've got to be quite careful about where and when and trade location. So, for sure, the break of last week's lows, I think, is probably quite a key level. But maybe there's opportunities a little bit higher up if other things take place, which I can't really define because I haven't really seen it yet because we don't know what's coming next week. So, yeah, look, I appreciate that, Robert, as well too. I just seeing those comments coming through. You're right, and yes, there are some entry points turning up. So I think that for me, there's two ways to play this. You either play that with a tight stop, but it really depends where the market's going to open tomorrow, and that's what I'm not sure about. This news could be taken poorly. It might be ignored. I'm genuinely not sure about how people are going to treat it. And then there's the issue about how much of it do we actually know, and is it fake news? All of that palaver, right? So this is about trading the price action for me. And so if I see confirmation, I'll be moving.
I think it's such a good point, Julian, too, that, this is, we talked when I was running through some currencies, I talked about the fact there's a lot of stuff around the bottom of previous ranges. And really what we needed to do is to either jump back into that range and confirm it, or get below that range and confirm that. But right now, there's a lot of it right on the bottom of the range. And we just need price action to give us a direction, right? To give us some clarity.
Yeah, exactly, Paul. And I think that's the approach I'm taking this week.
Nice, mate. Anything else from you?
No, that's pretty much it. Look, I think everything's going to move. This is a correlation of 1 week. I think if the news is a bit rough, then everything will move quite aggressively together. And if the news isn't rough, I need confirmation before I'm going to act. So that's pretty much how I'm going to play.
Cheers, mate. That sounds good. Thank you very much for joining us. I know with the change to time, it is pretty late in New Zealand. We're making some changes to the time of this show in the coming weeks. We will let you guys know, but then as we get a bit closer to it. Chloe, over to you. Let's talk about some charts. What are you looking at today?
Good question, Paul. Let me just grab the screen, and I have got a few things I'm looking at. I just wanted to point out first of all that most of you who know me and have traded with me or listened to me know that I am a trend trader predominantly, and really, there are two types of market that I like to trade. Obviously, number one is cleanly trending markets. And that has pretty much been the content of my trading since March. There have been some really, really nice, strongly trending markets. Aussie dollar has been beautiful. The S&P and NASDAQ indices have been fantastic. Gold has yielded some really, really good trending opportunities. So we've seen such amazing trends over the last, I don't know, 6 months or so. It's been a real treat, to be honest. And right now we are starting to see, or not starting to see, we have kind of seen the end of some of those trends, and we're starting to see more consolidation, a little bit of change of direction. And as Julian says, some key levels that either prices hovering around or testing. And so for me, it's all about confirmation. And I call this my either or trading. So two types of trading that I do: my trend trading and my either or trading. My either or trading is also trend trading, but it's a little bit more flexible in that I need to spend a little bit more time analyzing the markets in order to get my direction, because perhaps the trends aren't necessarily as obvious as one might like. So with that having been said, I'm going to start off by looking at dollar Swiss. The reason I'm looking at dollar Swiss, and I'll have a look at euro dollar as well, they tend to correlate quite nicely and move quite nicely together. So I'll have a look at euro dollar as well, but I'm starting with dollar Swiss, and I just want to start up on the monthly time frame. I think it's really, really important at the beginning of the month to look at the monthly timeframes and analyze them. Even if you analyzed it last month and you've got levels from last month and they may not have changed, it's a really good idea to just reconfirm your thoughts on each currency pair or each instrument that you're trading at the beginning of every month. And so dollar Swiss on the monthly time frame, I do find that the dollar Swiss and other Swiss pairs tend to really strongly respect horizontal levels. And we've got a pretty major horizontal level here. So we've got this previous low where this level has been tested. It's been tested back over here as well. And all the way back to 2014 as well. This was a strong horizontal level that formed pretty much after that massive, where we had the unpegging of the euro and the Swiss franc. So it's a significant horizontal level. The reason I'm pointing this out on the monthly time frame is because right now, price, as Julian mentioned, is at this level. So Julian mentioned some key levels. I don't know whether this is one that he specifically is looking at, but for me, this is a key level, and it's definitely a level that I'm looking at. And this is where my either or trading comes in, because if price gives me a confirmation at this point that it is heading in the upwards direction, then I will trade accordingly. And at the moment on the daily time frame, I do have a higher low and a higher high. Price has come down. It's tested this month's new monthly pivot. It's not broken below at the moment. It's stayed above, and price currently is just above this key horizontal level that I've been talking about. So for me, my priority is to be looking for long opportunities. Now, obviously, I will, in order for that to happen, I need there to be no resistance in the way. So obviously last week I would not have been trading long because we had this weekly pivot here. This week, the weekly pivot will move slightly, probably not very far. And that will then be taken into account on my trading from tonight onwards. And really what I want to do is look for long opportunities on this moving forwards. Having said that, going back to the either or situation, if price comes down and breaks beneath the monthly pivot, that will also mean price will have got yet again beneath this key horizontal level, and that will then trigger me to trade short. So I'm remaining open-minded. While I've got these trends that are not fully established, I'm just literally going up here on the daily time frame with the latest higher low and the latest higher high, but that can change very quickly. If price goes down from here, then I will have a mini lower high and a mini lower low, which then could be tradable on the lower time frames. So my preference would be for price to move upwards from here and trade with the daily trend. But if that doesn't happen, then I'm ready and open for opportunities short beneath the monthly pivot and beneath this key horizontal level. So I'm going to talk about euro as well, because we've got a similar-ish situation on euro. It's not quite as clean. But on euro, let's look at the monthly time frame and the key level here. The key level that I'm looking at is pretty much the level that price has settled at right as we speak. We've got this level of support from all the way back in 2004. It's been resistance in 2014, support again in 2016, resistance in 2017, and price has settled at this level as we speak. So going back to the daily time frame, we can see a little bit about this price action here on the daily time frame. And again, similar to dollar Swiss, we have got lower highs and lower lows. Price has come up to form a lower high at this point here, which is just above this key level of what has been support. And this is the area that I'm looking at. And again, I'm looking at it in an either or frame of mind. So if price now confirms a downwards direction, gets back below horizontal level here, then we'll be looking for short opportunities. However, we've got a new monthly pivot. It is as yet untested. If price manages to get up to the monthly pivot, test that and go through that, then I will be looking for potential long opportunities on the lower time frames. So it's another either or situation there on euro dollar. Another thing that I want to have a look at is Aussie dollar. Another one that Julian mentioned. And again, really, in order to do my analysis, especially at the beginning of the month, it is really, really important to look at the monthly time frame. So here on Aussie dollar, again, I've got my key level drawn in at this strong level of what has been support. It was support back in 2016, 15, 14, all the way back in 2004 as well. We've got a strong monthly level of support. And price is pretty much sitting at that level right now as we speak. So again, that is a potential turning point for Aussie dollar. Now on Aussie dollar, we have a similar thing where the trend is potentially changing here. I've now got a lower high and a lower low. Price has moved up above, just above this horizontal level here, which I've got drawn in, and currently is just sitting and testing that level. So price potentially could stay above this level, in which case I'd be happy actually to take long opportunities, potentially on the lower timeframes if they present themselves on my strategy. And again, it's this key level here that is really important to me. And if price gets back below that level, then I will be extremely interested in trading that short. Let me just add the monthly pivot on there just to show you that that is another area of decision making where if price manages to get above this monthly pivot here, then I will for sure be looking out for long opportunities. Now, with my either or trading, I tend to look for more conservative opportunities than I otherwise would. So that is something to bear in mind. I'm not necessarily looking to run these trades for a long time. I'm more looking to get into trades and out of trades fairly quickly, fairly conservatively, especially because you know, it's pretty much going to be my last week of trading this week before I wind things down. So another thing that I wanted to look at, in fact, there are two other things that I want to look at. First of all, I just want a very brief look at gold. Now, I know Ainslie comes in and talks about gold, so that's why I say very, very brief. All I want to point out is that this as well is at this key horizontal level. Now, if we put that onto the monthly time frame, we can see that that is actually very close to the all-time highs, the previous all-time highs from back in 2011. So that is also a key horizontal level. Price has broken below there, come back up, and is currently retesting that level. So again, this is an either or point for me. Either price will test that level and confirm a return to what is now reasonably established as a downtrend, lower highs and lower lows, or it could break back above that level, in which case that brings us into this tricky area here where we've seen a lot of consolidation. So my trading would be a lot more conservative if that were to be the case. If price continues down here, then the next strong level of support for me is down here around 1790 or thereabouts. And that is really where I would be heading or aiming for if I were to be trading short on gold. But I won't spend too much time talking about gold because I know Ainslie will come in and talk about that. And really the final thing that I wanted to talk about is the US indices. I have been trading the US indices very, very heavily over the last few months. They've been trending amazingly well. And again, we've now got a couple of key levels that we can use to our advantage. This horizontal level here has been resistance. It's shown a little bit of support as well. It's not a very clear level because it's only been established for for 2 months or so. We've never had price higher than this before. So the levels are very, very new levels. However, price right now is sitting exactly at that level. So again, it's an either or situation. This level could hold and price could head back to the upside. And especially if it gets above the monthly pivot, then I'll be looking for longs on the NASDAQ. If this level breaks, then that will be a bearish sign for me and one that I would like to look out for short opportunities on. So that NASDAQ is also at a key level for me, a decision point, and my trading will very much depend on what happens around this level, especially what happens around the new monthly pivot and things like that. And then the other one, of course, alongside the NASDAQ, S&P, very, very closely correlated and often move similarly. S&P has not been as strong as the NASDAQ, but just to point out this key level, these previous all-time highs from back in February this year, we broke strongly through there. We then had the drop that we've seen here, lower high, lower low. Price has come back to within these two levels of support and resistance. So at the moment, price is pretty trapped. And when price gets trapped, that's an indication to me to look out for something to happen. It's very handy that price is also trapped just beneath this monthly pivot. So the level and the pivot coincide really nicely. And again, if price manages to break up above here, then I'll be looking for long opportunities all day long on all time frames. If price bounces at this level, then that will be a bearish signal. And once we get through this area of support here, then I'll be looking for short opportunities. So my analysis this week isn't necessarily, well, I'm looking at euro short and I'm looking at dollar Swiss long and things like that. It really is an either or situation. We've got key levels that price is at. And for me, I think I just need to wait to see what is going to happen with price action as the markets open before I actually make my decisions. And it will be these key levels that really guide my trading for the week ahead. The other thing to point out, which I don't think has been mentioned yet, is the we've just had an extension, I think, to the horrific shambles of the Brexit negotiations that are going on. So I think there was a deadline looming, and the EU and the UK have now just agreed, I think this weekend, to extend that to make sure that we do come up with a deal. So I'm guessing that when the market opens, that could have an impact on the euro and the pound that we just might want to be a little bit wary of. So that is pretty much what I wanted to cover. Hey,
I need
Paul.
to cover some more. How you doing? So Dennis has asked you whether you trade on Mondays, and look, I think it's one of the interesting things because obviously different Access to Wealth traders trade on or don't trade on different days. Do you trade Mondays?
Yes, I do as a rule, Paul. I have not been trading Mondays recently because, as you know, I'm kind of scaling back, and because Monday isn't a day that I'm involved with any Trader Talk radio or any of the social media shows or anything like that, I've chosen for that reason not to trade Mondays at the moment, just because I am also getting the house ready and getting all sorts of things ready for the upcoming arrival. But as a rule, yes, I do trade Mondays. In fact, I find Mondays a really good day to trade.
Still painting, Chloe?
We're on the final room as we speak, getting there.
Brilliant. Hey, couple of thoughts on I'd like you to stay in the room if you can, Chloe. Partly because there's only you and me and Shukri in the room at the moment. But
I'm here.
Hey, Ainslie, thank gosh, welcome along. I hadn't seen you there. We're going to have we'll pick a pair and go around the team in a few minutes, but most of the team aren't in at the moment. We have got Alexis with some IT issues tonight. We have got Geoff who just can't log in for love nor money. and he will be getting frustrated with it. He doesn't like it when he can't log in. Great, Dennis. I was about to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that. So, and actually, I'll get the team to weigh into this, but I'm going to go next on this, right? So the question from Dennis is, and actually, I'm going to talk on a couple of things. We'll do Dennis first, then we'll do the cotton seasonality thing. I'm going to ask Chloe and Ainslie to join me in this while we fill in some time until Shukri comes up to do, and I don't mean fill in some time, this will be some good stuff. Here's what I do, Dennis. Do I trade Mondays? Yes, I do. Do I trade Fridays? Yes, I do. But the other way around on them both. It's very unlikely that I'll get into the market early on a Monday. I would definitely give the market a bit of time to get open and get settled before I start placing new orders on a Monday morning. And remember, because I'm in New Zealand, I am in the market around open time, but Monday mornings, the only kind of thing that I would trade on a Monday morning is something on a small time frame on a small risk, looking for quite a big move during the week. But generally speaking, Monday mornings, I don't tend to trade. I'll have a look at the market and come back and trade later in the day. And Fridays are the opposite for me. Friday morning, if I can find the right opportunities, I'll get in those trades Friday. And then I'll make a decision late Friday night before I go to sleep on those two. And I can get out of trades when I wake up in the morning on Saturday morning. But I don't tend to do that. Before I go to bed on Friday night, I make a decision on whether I want to hold it through the weekend or not. And if I don't, I just get out. And if I do, I just hold it. So I do trade 5 days of the week. It does. I'm a bit like Chloe. It does depend on a few different things. This show tonight will finish around midnight Sunday night New Zealand time. I know it's very early your time, but by the time I get it wound up and do a few things, maybe have a chat with the team tonight. Could be 1 or 2 o'clock before I get to bed tonight. If I do that, it's unlikely I'll be looking to make too many trading decisions until I've had a sleep and a nap, to be honest. Ainslie, Monday mornings, Fridays for you?
Monday morning, look, to be quite honest, I have had, when the Australian market's open, I've had gold spike, and if it's been a trade that I've been holding for some time and I see a big spike, I'll close it, and I've done that Monday morning early. But to take new positions, no. I like to see what happens. I like to see it settle down a bit, and then to see it, I'd like to see London open and and see how it goes before coming into New York, because there's so much more volume coming in then compared to the Asian for us for our Monday morning. It can go, it looks like it will be going in one direction, completely reversed by 3 o'clock my time, coming into European open. So go with volume. So I do a little bit more analysis, see what's happened, what falls out, and then wait until London opens and then trade it. Fridays, definitely.
Chloe, you're a Friday trader? Thank you, Ainslie. Sorry, Friday you definitely trade?
Yep.
Friday's a gold buy day, isn't it? Isn't it Thursday it pulls back and Friday it rallies?
Yep. Well, in inverted.
I mean, not every Thursday and every Friday. Trading's not quite that easy, right?
Yeah, no wonder I have a good weekend. No, it's not always the way it goes. And last week was a bit of an indication of that, where it just chopped and changed, went all over the place. But generally speaking, Thursday is a sell day and Friday is a rally. But it's not set in stone. But yeah, you can imagine that Thursday and Friday have got my attention.
Look, Chloe, you're a Friday trader?
Yeah, again, Paul, at the moment I'm not, but generally, as a rule on my strategy, absolutely yes. But same as you, if I'm trading on the intraday time frames, then I'll tend to wind down, probably by midday UK time. So I'll tend to only trade the morning session UK time on a Friday on the intraday time frames. End of day stuff and 4 hourly stuff, I'm happy to trade all the way through Friday.
Cool. Look, I want to make a comment about some stuff, and I think again, I really want to offer Chloe or Ainslie the chance to comment on this, and I want to make it really clear. If you want to disagree with what I'm about to say, you're absolutely welcome to disagree with what I'm about to say. But I want to answer a question because I think it's really important. And Rob's come on and he said that he's keen for some dollar strength, and he said that cotton seasonality seems to support dollar strength too. And I have no doubt that's completely true, Rob. But here's my question. What seasonal history is there when the US presidents got COVID? How much of those COP positions were taken before the US president got COVID? So right now, I wouldn't be putting as much influence on that stuff as I would normally, because I don't think that I think that that something's happened in the market which makes those things slightly less relevant than normal. And I love seasonality particularly. We've got Ray coming in for the mentorship students to do a free session on cotton seasonality not far away. But I love seasonality particularly. But one of the things I'm always into with seasonality is, if I'm comparing to the last 20 years, am I in a situation that's similar to the last 20 years? Because honestly, looking at seasonal data to me, when I'm in a different situation to the last 20 years, well, that disconnects it from mine. And even for this cot stuff, so while people have been creating these dollar shorts and these dollar longs, there has been quite a big change in the US position right now. And look, I expect Trump to survive, and I expect the market will watch the next opinion polls pretty carefully. Is he going to get a sympathy vote? Could it close this up? Is this going to work for him? Or is Biden going to widen out? And I think the minute Biden widens out in those key states, I think the US dollar will settle. I think that's really what the market wants to see now. It wants to say, okay, well, this is done. Biden's going to win it. And I don't think the market cares which one, but that's the only one that can give it certainty. If Trump closes up, it creates uncertainty. If Biden pulls away, it creates certainty. And I think the market will be watching this stuff. And the people that are have got positions in the market and made these commitments on the commitment of traders, they've done it under a different set of news to me to the one that exists right now. So it may well be that that's all true and that seasonality and cost support and we get dollar strength. But honestly, right now for me, I wouldn't be putting the same emphasis on that information as I would in other stages, because I think it's been slightly invalidated by stuff that's happened recently. And it's not that trumps the whole world. It's just that I'm not comparing apples with apples anymore in my world, So I love cotton. I love seasonality. It's like the fundamental stuff. Sometimes you've got to look at the fundamental stuff and say, am I looking at, is it the same or is it different? And if it's the same, then it's really valuable. And if it's different, it's not quite so important to me. Chloe and Ainsley, you want to add anything into that? You got any thoughts on it? Hey, and congratulations, Geoff, on getting in.
I actually do have thoughts on that, Paul, and pretty much in agreement with you. As you know, I do actually use seasonality quite a lot with my trading, or I did last year. This year has been really different because, as you say, when have we seen a US president with COVID? But also this whole year, when have we last seen any of the stuff that's been going on, global pandemic and etc. So I think that has had such a strong market that it makes it almost impossible to use the seasonality of the last 25 years to predict which way the market's going. So I have still looked at it, and there have been times when I've mentioned it. Aussie dollar as an example, Aussie dollar and Kiwi dollar, I love the seasonality on. I usually do trade it, but yes. This year I've looked at it as a guide and as a kind of, well, if the technicals agree with that, then I'll go with it. But I haven't looked at it with any kind of expectation that it is going to guide the direction of the market. So yeah, I've placed a lot less importance on that this year.
Ainsley, anything from you on it?
Yeah, as you know, I quite like the seasonals as well, particularly with the financial instruments I trade. And interestingly enough, the seasonals have matched up nicely with a lot of the gold trades that I've taken. But as you said, it's, we're looking at a global pandemic this year, a very different governance with the leader of the first world, the leader of the United States. So it's an interesting spin on things. But at the moment, I'm struggling to see how the seasonals, and as you said, an average sum of the last 25 years. And yeah, we've had some standout years where we've had interesting things happen, GFC and a few other things like that. But gosh, nothing like this. And the far-reaching economic crippling, I think you would say, of some economies that we've seen, and yet some others have flourished in other areas. So it's just, I don't know, a little bit of a wait and see. Let's see how this goes, and then the market will find its own level like water, and it'll take off again.
I'm going to ask you a question, and sorry I'm interrupt. I'm going to ask you a question, and it's not something that I know to be true. It's something that I suspect to be true. Is it reasonable to say that during the year, the gold seasonality has slowly unfolded a little bit from being really good first 4 or 5 months to just being a little bit less in the last 2 or 3 months?
In the last 2 and 3 months, it's been a bit trickier to follow. Absolutely. The same as the correlation it has with dollar yen. Dollar yen, it had a strong correlation. That would be a backup trade for me, is to trade gold and then piggyback that with a nice correlated dollar yen trade as well. I mean, I knew it was highly correlated, and I risk managed appropriately, but even that's unraveled. So
Look,
that's a really important to do as well. So yeah, you could say the last couple of months, but yeah, gold up until now has been ticking along, and it's probably more one of those, as Chloe said, it's more of those, oh yeah, that's good, that's going in the right direction, but it's not, the bias isn't as strong.
Yeah, I'm gonna just for Rob, who's made another comment in here, I just want to see if I can provide some clarity for you. I'm not saying it's not valid. I'm absolutely not saying it's not valid. It may be completely right. I'm just saying that this would make me have another look at it and be sure. And the other thing that I'll tell you, yeah, I think it is less clear. One of the things from mine is that one of the things you need to watch out for in trading is finding things that when you want to do something, you use to reassure yourself. And it's one of the reasons I don't use fib a lot. I know Andrew's really good on fibs. I don't use fib a heck of a lot myself, because I can put a fib through any place on the chart I want to. From somewhere to somewhere, you can stretch a line and get a fib to go through a line and reassure you're in the right place to be taking a trade. And I think when you have those kind of things in trading, they're really bad for you. For me, you shouldn't use seasonals or COT to back up an opinion. You should use seasonals or COT to start an opinion, and use chart patterns in to confirm them. But they're not a confirmation tool. They're a leading tool for mine in trading, and then you can use the chart pattern to continue in the direction. And I think Julian said really nicely at the start. For me, this week is about, we're traders, and the most basic skill we have is reading chart patterns. And right now, we're just waiting for the market to give us some chart patterns and some clarity. And I think it's a real risk, Rob. I think what we do is we get an opinion and we almost talk ourselves into it. Whereas really, in my opinion, by the way, if you're not sure, instead of finding something to confirm it for you, save your money. That's just my take on it. Maybe different for others. And I am getting well into Shukri's time. I'm going to open it back up to Chloe and Ainslie. They've been part of this discussion to see if they have anything they want to. I know I've got Geoff in the room as well. We're going to come to Geoff later. We've got Lloyd in the room as well. We've got Shukri in the room. We are going to go, I think, from here. Chloe and Ainslie, anything else to add on that conversation before I go to Shukri?
No, I just totally agree with. Just wait until you see some technicals back up what you're doing. Because
it's the final confirmation for everything, isn't it? Price action is the final confirmation for everything, right?
It should be the actually. It should be your leading. It should be your leading confirmation. Price action,
I think
then see how that. Yeah.
See, I think if you've got a seasonal short, you want a price action confirmation. It's not you've got a technical short does seasonal. You've got just seasonal confirm that. I think you go from seasonal to, but again, it's all different. It's about having different opinions in the show. So I really appreciate it. I'm going to go Shukri on cryptocurrency. We're going to go to the moon and back with Shukri. I know we had a big event a couple of weeks ago. We're going to, after that, go to Ainslie. She's going to do gold. We'll ask her to have a quick look at oil for us. Lloyd's into the currency strength. We've got Geoff into to do some more technical analysis as well. So we've got plenty more coming up as we are doing live analysis of the Forex market. Hey, Shukri, how you doing? Welcome along.
Hi.
Oh, good. I'm so sorry, Shukri, to interrupt, but just to let you know, I am heading off now.
Hey,
Chloe.
Yeah, I know I speak for the whole team, Chloe, and we will be thinking about you very much over the next few weeks and months. I know we're hoping to have you back in January, but really we're only hoping to have you back when you're when you're feeling great and ready to get back into trading. We're really looking forward to seeing some baby pictures, and please, I know on behalf of the entire company, pass on our best to Ben as well, and you know that our love goes with you guys. Have a amazing first couple of months, and don't forget to do what it says in the book. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Chloe. Bye.
Cheers,
Thanks, Chloe.
everyone. Speak soon.
Bye. Bye.
See ya.
Take care, mate.
Shukri.
Yes, it's a
You know,
great.
mate, I was reading something where when you do this crypto stuff, people just give you coins for stuff.
Yes, it does. It is a culture in crypto.
It's a
So,
culture
you know,
in crypto.
Yes, when you set up a wallet, and these are other types of, not necessarily crypto.com, because crypto.com is centralized. When people do it for you, they take away your rewards because they set it up for you. When you do it yourself, you get rewards. So the only issue is, can you get the big ones or can you get the small ones? Of course, you want the big ones. Because even last week, because someone wanted to know about free coins, well, I got some other free coins last week worth about 2,000 US, but I'm just waiting for it to double and then I'll probably sell it off.
Yeah, I mean, who would want 2,000 US? I mean, you just wouldn't take
Yeah.
that, right? If someone said to you, do you want 2,000? No, thank you. No, thank you.
I don't want that. You're right.
Thanks,
right.
Bitcoin. Hey, guys, thanks for the
Yes.
comments on social media about Chloe. We will be in touch with her, and I appreciate your support of her. Wonderful time, and they're a wonderful couple too, just quietly. Shukri,
Okay.
Bitcoin, the Trump thing, the US dollar thing, it certainly seems to be a little bit in play at the moment on Bitcoin.
Yes. And we did avoid a major, we just avoided a major disaster this week. But the good thing now, Bitcoin, I'm sounding like a broken record. Where is it going? Nowhere. can't even break this key level. Same thing for Ethereum here. They can't even break this 361. It keeps on trying to retest it and then just goes below. And something happened here just before Trump. Okay, and I think this is good for Bitcoin and also good for the crypto market, because just before Trump had COVID, major disaster happened. In fact, there was quite a bit of bad news for Bitcoin last week. That was bad news, but it just refuses to go down. It just is not going to go down, okay? And the bad thing that happened before that was, hey, this is related to COD, Paul. But in this case, the guy who came up with COD, which is the CFTC, Commodities Futures Trading Commission, said they want to protect digital assets such as Bitcoin. And what they're doing now is they're going all over and just catching these fraudsters. And most importantly, they shut down, okay? They filed charges against, she sells the domicile crypto exchange BitMEX. This is the 5th largest exchange in the US.
Yeah, BitMEX is pretty big, yeah.
Yes, it's very big. And it came out with all these derivatives, right? Options and all of this. And this Arthur Hayes is really, he is a major figure in crypto. And now the CFTC has gone after him. And that's why it was dumped on Friday morning before the Trump thing. So the fact that it was dumped before that was dumped about 5%, that when Trump came out, like it didn't move a lot because, the bad news was already absorbed. So this guy's going to get it. But he's in Hong Kong. He's very clever, you see. They set up a US company, but he stays in Hong Kong, but his CTO was caught. He's in Hong Kong. I don't think at the trade war now that Hong Kong has an extradition treaty in the US. So I don't think he's going to the US too. So, Arthur Hayes is still like going against Uncle Sam, okay? But the important thing this week is that, and this is one of the few weeks where you see this range, it is very bullish for Bitcoin because we broke a record. And I'm going to show you this record, very significant. Bitcoin has just broken the record for straight days closing above 10,000. It said this, right? 63 days, but this was last week, September 28. It's now 70 days. And if you look here, this is even higher than the peak in 2017, which means that when Bitcoin goes down, whenever it dumps, they keep on buying it. People are just buying Bitcoin when it goes down. And and that's why I was panicking. I said, oh no, Trump is having coronavirus. It's going to go down somewhere. It didn't go down. This didn't do anything. refuse to do anything. And this is very, very bullish, because if we look at the seasonals for Bitcoin here, this is from Kraken, and this is on the Kraken intelligence. You can go to the website. Kraken is going to be the first US crypto bank. And look at the seasonal patterns here. This is nothing to do with COT. This August has been very low, and this is what it's done, you know. September has been very negative. Now, October has been very bullish, but we've got to be careful because we have a COVID president here, okay? November, and this is the same as 2016, after the US presidential election, it tends to go up. It's the best month, actually, other side than April, and then December is also good. So, assuming that Trump behaves, we don't know what Trump's going to do, and the US presidential election goes very well, Bitcoin looks like it's on a super, super duper bullish run going forward. So, you know, this is one of the few times where not doing anything is actually good. Yeah, don't do anything. Let's stay here. But what I'm personally doing now is that I'm actually, I've sold some of my altcoins because I'm going to start putting money into Bitcoin, but more on that tomorrow. So I'm confident of this because I look at the fundamentals, say, this is already bullish. This is very bullish, actually. And we look at correlations, Paul. Look at this.
Sorry, Shukri, I'm just going to jump in here for a second. I really apologize for this. Mike, can you hear me okay? Mike, if you can hear me, if you can just type in the box. Well, if you can hear me, then you're still in the Zoom. And please don't crash out of here because you'll crash the live stream. So it's all okay. Well, whatever message you're getting, we're all okay. Sorry to interrupt, Shukri, back to you.
Yeah. So look at this, okay? It was correlated to the S&P, then it was correlated to the gold, and now it's just broken the correlation at the end of August. So what does this mean, everyone? Bitcoin has decided to go in its own little path. So it'll be interesting to watch the next few days. But yes, I am ready to put money in Bitcoin again because this is a record of holding above 10,000. That is very, very significant. So
what we're saying, Shukri, in trading terms is that the 10,000 support's getting stronger. Now, what we're saying is that if there's a pullback, we expect 10,000 more likely to hold now than it was previously. We're seeing this level become stronger. It's a clear buying point for investors in Bitcoin. It means that underneath it's trouble, but right now it looks pretty strong.
Yes.
Do you happen to know how strong is the correlation between Bitcoin and dollar index?
It's very strong, but it's also broken out. It's just, again, it's decided to do its own thing this past week. It's broken its correlation with the S&P. It's broken its correlation with gold. It's trying to break its correlation with the dollar index. It's still strong, but it's doing its own thing now. I think you're right, Paul. It's trying just to establish itself as 10,000 here. See, it's just going nowhere. But this going nowhere means that whenever you dump, somebody's buying.
Yeah, look, I think there's no question. And I do wonder if there are some people in, some places in the world that perhaps where the sovereignty might be changing quicker than people expected, where people might be trying to get some money into crypto to make it safe if some authoritarian, some different types of government have control there than what they were expecting a while ago.
Yes, you're right. And one more thing, Paul, things are different now because when you say getting into crypto, you might say, well, they like US dollars. Yes, you can get into crypto through US dollars, It's easier to go into crypto, convert it into a US dollar coin and just stay put if you prefer US dollars. Doesn't need to be Bitcoin if you find it too volatile.
Look, interesting to see how that does play out. And thank you very much, mate. Hey, mate, you're back during the week. You're back Monday and Wednesday at 7 o'clock, isn't it, for you?
Yes, I am. Exciting because guys, tomorrow we are going to see a wallet which has been hacked, which had 150 million US. So if you guys can hack it, you guys can take it. Be there.
Hey, I think I'm supposed to put some money into a wallet with Geoff for you to trade for us. So do let me know if I'm supposed to do that and we'll get it sorted out.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Ainsley, let's talk gold and oil if you've got a moment on that. Ping these away today.
Yeah, no problem. Paul, could you pop up a gold chart because it's been very boring, but because it won't take long.
Yep. Let me actually, I think that. Let me just get this.
And Shukri, I just love your posts. They're really good. I love that. It's so different to everything.
Thank you.
Must get my head around that once I've emptied a few more boxes. There we go. Look at
Right,
oh,
where's my gold chart going, Nancy? I should have a gold chart here somewhere.
silver. I want XAU. There he is.
Yeah, there he is.
Now let me just close that down. Now, sorry guys, that was a really boring week, wasn't it? We had a little bit of a bounce off the 100 moving average and if you're wondering, the bottom of that that last swing low is actually bouncing off the 100 moving average, exponential moving average, is what we've got there. Moving average, exponential.
I'll put that in while you're talking. Yep.
Yeah, 100.
Nice, nice clear bounce too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Look at that. Ching. And then just came back up into the box. The bottom of the box. It just sat there, and that top of the box happens to be the monthly pivot.
Ah, yep.
And it just goes around in circles. So there wasn't really anything very interesting. It looks a bit of a retracement there. There was a bit of volatility we saw, and Friday was a pinball and just a headache all round, because once it was released in the media that Trump and First Lady had tested positive, we saw a real bounce and gold took off. And then it sort of settled and sort of drifted back down again. And then NFP came out and it decided to come back down again. It was just, look, there you go. Weekly pivot, monthly pivot, weekly pivot as well. If you want to chuck that in as well, weekly pivot, and my pivot's different to your pivot.
Yeah, I just think I'll just jump through a couple of things
yours?
here. There we go. So I just
There
had to change
it
time
is.
frames for it to redo.
Just
I
like,
certainly can't say I like this one with
oh, it's jammed in.
with no colours on it. Is that my old one? Anyway, we
But
don't need
I
colours for
mean,
this particular
yeah.
site. We get the picture, right?
But we get the picture. It's sort of popped up there between the two pivots, and it's just been a pinball, and it's just been so, and it's very unlike gold to be as touchy about news as it has been. But I've got to say, in the last week, it's been quite major news as well. So we've gone backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, and it's just been hideous. Sort of like cut, death by the cut of a million paper cuts, by the way. So backwards and forwards we've gone, and we've got no clear direction on gold at all. You're down there, aren't you? 1815 is one of those levels that I think if the low of that, if that breaks that weekly pivot during this coming week, I will still be looking for that level of 1850 to 1815, not 1850, 1850, 15 to be reached. So
it's one of those things, Ainsley, isn't it? Where it's a real, for me anyway, it's a real mental battle at the moment.
it is.
Because I believe there are still buyers, because buyers are so aggressive through here that I believe they're coming back, and it's just a matter of how far will they let it drift before they come back. And it's quite a dangerous attitude to have as a trader. It's not the best thing I can do is to have that attitude, because I am really, I'm a little bit one-sided in my trading of this, where really there's probably money on both sides of this at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you've still got a lot. You've still got a lot of analysts still saying by the end of the year they expect to see gold up around 2.3 to 2.5. A lot of them seem to have cooled their heels on the $3,000. If you may have noticed, the last couple of weeks, but it's just lately we've got nothing in this last week, and that's okay, because gold will do that for a little while. It likes to bounce around inside a box and then take off. It has come back up to what was a fairly large box, but we haven't broken any levels, bounced off a moving average. Let's see what happens. That's all
I haven't really thought about, Ainsley, is that there must be something coming through here that's not a long way from getting into play.
Yeah, but then you can look at that and say, oh, there's your equilateral triangle, or they've got you can draw. It's a bit like the fib levels. You can draw lots and lots of lines on that structure, can't you, Paul? And just say,
Oh, you really can.
back up there, and you can do this, and you can expect if you extrapolate that, then that the height of that triangle you can take from the top to the bottom, and it's broken it. And I mean, there is no head and shoulders in there, but you just have to sit and wait, unfortunately, because what we're looking at is nothing definitive.
I've got a new trade manager, which is just amazing, and I don't have it on this laptop, unfortunately. What I was doing was putting that on because I wanted to see whether they put the horizontal levels on for me, which it didn't do.
Those ones
a little
though.
bit.
Let me tell you, those levels.
I don't know why I can't even remember why I wanted to see it until I'm going to take it off again. It's not helping me at all. So right now, for the week ahead, Ainslie, this is another one. Is what you're saying here is that, look, what I was going to talk about. Often when stuff gets stuff between monthly pivot and weekly pivot, it spends a bit of time in there, but they're quite tight.
Yeah.
It's hard to see gold sitting inside a range as tight as that for too long.
Yeah. And if you drop down to a 4-hourly, you'll see that it's just been a little pinball. It's just dropped around all over the place. Bing, 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 bing. Especially in this last. I had a double bottom put in place.
That's what I was doing. I wasn't putting that on there to do horizontal levels. I was putting that on there to see where weekly pivot's going to go this week. Because at the moment, if it is there, weekly pivots. So weekly pivot's going to stay in the same place. And that does look like that might be enough space for a little range to sit in there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, and given the circumstances at the moment, I'm not surprised. It's just a bit of a holding pattern. And as we know, gold likes to sit in a holding pattern until it has a real, it takes the bit between its teeth and goes. And when it goes, it goes. But I'm not seeing anything that's really exciting me at the moment on gold.
Fair enough. I've got to say I concur. Yep. Okay, so that's gold for now. And really, Ainslie, when you say that, are we saying here that I'll just go to a daily chart that above the 100-day moving average, you've probably got some reason to be a little bit bullish. And monthly pivot to weekly pivot could range in that area there. And really, we're looking for some price action here. Again, break this triangle, retest it, and go. And we're pretty keen to be long.
Yeah.
Get below here, and these targets come into mind. But really, it's a bit of a wait and see period for us, right?
Yeah, and we're good at that with gold. Wait and see.
Oh, look, no one's made any money from gold by rushing. And here's the oil trade, and here's this gap I keep talking about back in March, right? And interesting because it ranged it in here for a while, and it's just popped back in. Top of the range, bottom of the range, top of the range, bottom of the range, all based on this previous gap. Weird.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not weird. It likes levels. Oil likes levels. It's boring at in that regard. It's just finding out the right levels to trade it to. But that is as it is. But as you saw on Friday, it did react very negatively to Trump's positive testing of coronavirus. That's just all there is to it. If you flick across and have a look at Brent, I can tell you it closed below $40 a barrel, and that has
39.20 is it on Brent at the moment?
Yeah. XBR. There it is. Well, XBR US
there we are.
39.21. There you go. And it hasn't been down there for a few months, as you can see, and it closed below $40 a barrel. So now the predictions for that is to go to 35, which is also sort of somewhere just below that little level that seems to be coming down, but it's looking around the $35 mark. Or 34.74, or just a bit better. So that's prediction on Brent, but we normally talk XTI. And XTI is one of the things that was announced also on Thursday. As you can see, it's also a seller's bar on Thursday, was that OPEC agreed this week to further unwind production cuts beginning of January. So they're talking about chucking another 2 million barrels a day into the market because they all had to take this hefty, remember back in May, they had to take this hefty cut and they all screamed like pigs. But the thing was, you know, the world was shutting down. Didn't need oil. We had all this surplus. And then we went to that horrible, horrible place. Sorry, March, not May, March. And they're talking about putting it back in. Now, there's a lot of analysts that they're talking about it, but surely they've learnt their lesson from the past, and they won't unwind the cuts. Let's see, because we've got to remember that January 2021 is not that far away. Believe it or not,
true.
There's a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah,
My
look,
goodness.
it's that is true. Sorry, Angie,
Yeah,
just checking on where I'm going from here. I don't mean to be looking away from the camera, but I have all that stuff on another screen. Look,
yeah,
that
but XTI, I think XTI for the week coming up, I think it's going to continue as a little downhill slide, to be quite honest.
and that XBR target at 37.13 looks pretty good as well, doesn't it? There's some good support and resistance through there, and interesting again.
Huge.
The gap here still having a little bit of a test at the bottom there. Didn't quite test the top on this, but come off the horizontal and just bang straight back down the bottom. And if it gets that's a close below that range for mine. That does look pretty bearish. Okay, Angie, thank you very much for that. I'm going to get to Lloyd and do currency strength. Lloyd, are you okay on currency strength?
Hi, Paul. Evening there.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Okay, so let me get to currency strength. I had a few surprises this week. Let me see. And some good stuff that came out of it. Yep. So actually, I think I missed out last week. So some of the currency strength reading, the charting was actually from previous week, and I think it still stands. Yeah. So now top of my list for going to long position for this coming week will be actually yen. Yeah. So bearing in mind that this charting was actually done 2 weeks back, so I just need to adjust it a bit. Isn't that bad? Yeah. So I think yen is going to be actually rather strong due to some uncertainty, which you all would know what it is for the coming week ahead. So there you go. British pound, also it actually responded pretty well to this horizontal level, so we're just going to do some adjustments. I have no idea why British pound is going to strengthen, but all I know is that that's what the chart is telling me, and I'm going to react according to it. Now, CAD, same thing. It actually, for all the above three horizontal levels, price just briefly dipped below their head, and then they actually resumed back. So I would say I would still maintain that they respected the level pretty well. Yeah. So yen, pound, and CAD, I'll still be pretty bullish throughout the week. Kiwi is the one that had a nice surprise for me. I think 2 weeks back, Paul was telling me that Kiwi was strong. He actually respected this historical level from quite a while back. So I still think that Kiwi, after respecting this level, go all the way down to 65, is just going to be ranging this area. Yeah, so just need to update it a bit. So that's what I think it's going to do. Let's change the color to red. Yeah. So till this level is broken, I will have no reason to believe that Kiwi will be any significantly stronger. But for the week, for the next couple of weeks, this is what I think it's going to do. Now, dollar is the one that caught me by surprise quite a fair bit. Yeah, I was actually pretty bearish about dollar. So as you have seen from the chart, it actually broke through this level quite significantly. So as of now, once it has done that, now I'm not thoroughly be very bullish about it. Yeah, but since price has done that, we gotta. This might be the possible movement it might have for the next 2 weeks or so. Yeah. So as of now, I would consider that it has not really bounced off this level. Yeah. So it's getting its feet wet. So the next coming week, this level will prove to be very crucial to me. Yeah, I need to see some really strong price actions as to what the dollar is going to be doing. Yeah. So reading from the MACD is a bit wonky at the moment. I don't know what's our trading view. it is not significantly strong at the moment. Yeah, so dollar I placed in the middle, so I'm going to be very cautious. Now Aussie is the one that also caught me by surprise. It just break this level. It's not looking back at all. So that's what I think it's going to do. So that's why looking at this level, you can see that from the past, it did have some sort of respect. That's why in the upcoming week, I think Aussie is just going to weaken. Next on my list, Euro. Now Euro, I don't think, I think my ranking is a bit, just got to shift it up. Now Euro, I don't think it's going to be that weak. Yeah, it's still going to be ranging about. So you can see that it has come up to this level, it's going to go down. Yeah, but if you look at the whole big picture, in the past, it did range quite a fair bit in this area before. Yeah, so I don't think it will really be that big and travel all the way down to 115. Yeah. So there's still some levels that it needs to break. So, and if you look at the MACD, it is not showing really significant bearish momentum yet. So I just think that it's going to range. And the last on my list is actually Swiss. Yeah. So Swiss has actually broken out of his mini range. So just going to delete it. Yeah. So essentially, that's what I think the price might be behaving. So all in all, even the analysis that I sent out in the group, you can see that pretty much that price does move in a wave manner, going up and down in steps. So just need to pay attention to this level, and we can actually get in some pretty good levels to trade from. Yeah. So that's what I think the currencies might behave for the week ahead.
Cheers, Lloyd. Thank you very much for that. Interesting as always, much appreciated. And certainly been some really good analysis from you recently on this stuff. Overall, you're looking a bit for range this week, right?
Yeah, looking for range. Most of the pair, I would say range price action. Even those that are trending, I suspect they might not be trending that hard, with the exception of yen, due to the uncertainty ahead.
Okay, cheers for that. Thank you very much. Look, I'm going to read out a question from YouTube before we go to Geoff. Got a couple of different answers. I am going to invite Ainsley to give hers, but I'm also going to jump into this. The question is, WTI, Brent, and US oil don't move at the same time and sometimes not in the same direction at the lower time frame. Should we take advantage of this difference for trading? And we've got an answer from Ainsley into YouTube, and I'll get her to talk on this in a few minutes. But here's my thought for it. Look, you've been trading for a long time. And if you think there's a correlation there, what I'd encourage you to do is to put up some charts, and you can do chart forward, play forward on charts on MT4. I think it's function 12. But what I'd encourage you to do is just some back testing on it. If I was going to do a correlation between WTI, Brent, and US oil, I would add into that dollar CAD. And I'd have the 4 charts up, I'd have it on a short time frame, and I would watch it for a period of time. And what you're looking to do each day is see, or over time, is see if there is a delay in the correlation, and if on any day one is leading the others, or if at different times of the day one generally leads the others. Now, Angel's here some good stuff, and I'll get her to come on and say this stuff out loud as well. I think what she says is really valid. It doesn't, which is that there's different people in these markets at different times doing different things, and that can affect it. But I reckon, as a trader, this is what you're looking for, right? If you've picked this out, if this stands out to you, what you need to do is test it.
Oh, for sure.
And my advice for you is not to test it at $1,000 a pip. My advice to you is to test it at 10 cents a pip, and see if you can create a record of being positive with it. And look, I say this, and the reason I'm not giving you a direct answer is because I haven't done it. I haven't had a look at those 4 charts over a long period of time together and say, I think this is the case. I haven't done it, and I don't want to lead you in a way. But this is what trading is, where you get an idea, and then you flesh that idea out and see whether you can make it work. This is brilliant, right? So I really encourage you to test this for yourself, and particularly at the times of day when you're looking at the market, because the particular time you're looking at the market, it's completely possible that one does lead for a couple of hours in there, and you can monetize it. And if you can, you're going to love that stuff, you know. While I understand some of the other stuff, I just think this is what trading's about. Have a theory, test your theory, monetize your theory, love it. That's what we're supposed to do. So I love the fact you've got a theory. It's possibly my favorite thing I've seen you post, and the whole time you've been with us. I just love it as an idea. And I'd love to see you to go away now and try and make something of it. But one thing I will never do, I will never come on these shows and tell you I know something I don't know, and I just haven't done enough of this to tell you if it'll work or it won't work. I just don't know the answer to that. But I do know for me, it's worth testing. Ainsley?
Yeah, up until it doesn't work anymore, because it will shift. Over the years, we've looked at things like when interest rates came out, that was the be-all and end-all of how that would move the market. And then non-farm payrolls had their time in the sun as well. They still do. And these things will still influence, but it used to be, one thing sort of takes the lead. And that's the same with oil. That's happened over the years as well. Brent used to be important, and then WTI was more important, and then Brent's now sort of leading the game a bit more and then we've had all this debacle with OPEC, and that's been influential. So it's watching and keeping across what are the touch spots, what are the really big influences that make things move. But you're right, they're not these different commodities, even though they come under the banner of oil, and not all metals are the same, precious metals are the same either. They all move differently because they've got different buys at different times for different things. It's simple as that. But we're looking at the overall demand, and I guess where I trade up is in the daily, and I do keep an eye on that weekly market. 4 hours is my entry, and I don't go down onto the lower time frames. And I get a lot of people have a lot of success down there, and that's great. And as Paul said, if that's something that you can see and you can follow and you've been able to identify, then monetize it, turn it into a strategy and back it and make it work. But we all don't trade as well on the same time frame. And I won't go down to a lower time. If it sounds like a good, that's great, but it's not where I trade as well. But you've got to remember these commodities all have their own idiosyncrasies. It's like saying, all the currencies are the same. They're not. They all move in respect to different things and different subtleties at different times of day. Same thing.
It's just like Ash. He watches the FTSE a lot. He starts to know what the FTSE's going to do. And if you watch it a lot, you start to learn this stuff. Cheers, Ainsley, and thanks for the question. I thought it was a great question. Really.
Yeah, it was a great
generally, we have posted some stuff on YouTube. I think you guys are giving us some great questions today. It makes the show for mine, having some different people come in and offer us some different questions. Now we're going to go to Geoff to have a look at some technical analysis. Mate, I am so pleased you got in. I know how frustrating you find it when you can't get in. I am
not frustrating at all, mate.
Yeah. I can imagine your face.
Hiya, Geoff.
Alison's hiding in the kitchen, isn't she?
Yes, she's downstairs. Mm-hmm.
Mate, what are you looking at this week?
Well, funny thing, Paul. Very much the same as I was looking at last week, and I'll just share that with you very, very briefly. If I can share. Hello, here we go. Where has it gone?
It'll be behind something. It's either the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen, and it's behind something.
Here it is.
Always is. There you go.
Nailed it. We're on fire. 2 in a row. So we were looking last week at Aussie CAD, and we were looking to trade it short as a result of not necessarily the 3 black crows sitting there, but the strength at which we broke through the bottom of the range. I won't say we were wrong, but we didn't get it right. But we'll come back to that. CAD Swiss, we were looking to trade CAD Swissy long as a result of a strong breakout of that range. Oh, that went the other way as well. Pound Kiwi, we were looking to trade this long as a bounce off the weekly pivot. Well, there's a tick there, but no entry for me. That was, of course, on Friday when the SH1T hit the fan because of our good friend Donald. And the last one was Euro Swissy. And we were looking to trade Euro Swissy long we actually got into this, I think. Was that last week or the week before? I can't remember. Anyway, every single chart I looked at on Euro Swissy looked as though it was going long, and monthly chart was not the least of those. So we were very, very patient and tried to get into the market as a result of those pullbacks that we actually did witness. It was a bit of a volatile week, I've got to say, on those currency pairs, but it was good fun having a look at them anyway. We got into a few trades, but only got TP1s. There's no follow through for us at the moment. It will come. It's just got to be a little bit patient. So a lot of TP1s, but not a lot of follow throughs. We're still in things like Euro Pound short. That's going okay. Swissy Yen short, I think we're still in that as well. But that's not going to be my focus this week, apart from managing them. So this hasn't gone away. I can't erase that, those 3 black crows there on Aussie CAD. So that's definitely still on my watch list. And that little double pump on the monthly pivot area there is very, very interesting as well. The one thing I can't reconcile is when I come back into a range, as we have done, I'm actually looking for a higher low, and maybe we've actually got that there now with this bar. I'm a little bit confused by that, and I'm not going to say it's going to keep me out of the market if I do get a setup short, but it's certainly going to keep me restricting my risk that I take on it. And the reason is because I strongly adhere to that higher low theory once we've come back in to a rectangular range or any range that you like to see. But we've also come back above that trend line and have retested that trend line, which of course is a trade line for me as well. And it wouldn't be the worst possible thing to do to place a long above that. The weekly pivot won't be there tomorrow. I haven't done the forward weekly pivots yet, so I'm not sure where the weekly pivot will be tomorrow, but it won't be here, obviously. It may well be very, very close to where the monthly pivot is. I would imagine very, very close to there. So that would give this a bit more support as well. I may be looking at a long to get short here. So I'll have a good look at this. It won't be in the morning because I don't trade Monday mornings, but tomorrow afternoon when I start to do my analysis for the smaller time frames, I'll definitely be having a look at this, and I'll be of the opinion that we can maybe bounce up to here, hit the top of the range, come back underneath this trend line, and then start to look for the shorts, because I can't get that one out of my head. That's a very, very strong signal in my humble opinion. And if I look at the monthly chart and go a little bit wider, you can have a pretty good estimation that I may well be waiting a fair while to get this short in, because if this breaks to the high side, then it's probably going up to this level here. But if it doesn't, as I say, that's when I'll be looking to trade this short off a false break of either the trade line or the top of the rectangle. So it's going to be a long to get short if I do play the long, but I'm committed to the short if we do get up the top here and find that as a false break. So that's Aussie CAD. Nothing's really changed in terms of the bias since last week, but circumstances have meant that we may be going to the top here before we start to climb our way down. CAD Swissy was the second of the ones that I was interested in last week. Couldn't find a way in. And that was a little bit of the story of the week as well. I was basing this on the bounce off the monthly pivot, and then break and bounce off the monthly pivot, and then the strong breakout of this little range that we're in. I thought that would go on with the job and certainly test the trend line here. No, back we go. And then, of course, we've come back to the weekly pivot of last week. So it was a little bit of a topsy-turvy ride. There's no question about that. Where to from here? Well, there's a couple of ways, again, to look at this. And I think that's pretty much a a theme in the technical markets at the moment. Certainly from where I sit, I'm seeing, as I said before, little breakouts and then whoosh, straight back, little breakout, straight back. It's very, very difficult to get follow through at the moment. That's not a bad thing on the small time frames if you're in front of the charts at the right time, because if you see it come back in and find a little bit of a lower high, then obviously you can trade it to the bottom and vice versa. From here, it gets a little bit more tricky because we've got now indecision both high and low on the daily time frame. I'm not sure I can find and that extrapolates it remarkably well. You can see Friday's price action just crazy because of the Trump thing, of course. Yeah, I'm not sure, frankly, what happens intraday here, but nothing goes away. Similar to what I just said on Aussie CAD, I still see every time frame telling me that we could easily break to the high side here. Monthly pivot, not so much clearly there, but like I said last week, we have broken that little low here, come back above it and retested it. And if we look at the trend lines on the weekly chart, we're doing exactly the same thing, pulling back away from it, coming to it, pulling back away from it, coming to it, pulling back away from it. And that interests me, always interests me, because eventually, if we do go to these highs, I think we will break through and get something very, very nice. So I will be looking again to trade CAD Swissy long. Setups, yeah, look, I'm happy to go pretty early, to be fair. Monthly pivot break and retest would be interesting, but as always, the best way to trade this is off support. So I'll be looking for maybe on the 4-hour chart. Can't see it happening early, but you never know. If we got a break here of a little trade line that comes through here, break underneath here, get back above, you can see where the pivots are. They're very, very close together. That suggests that we're not going too far too soon. So I may have to be, again, very, very patient with this and wait for a false break of support. But still there on CAD Swissy. Pound Kiwi. Yeah, look, very, very keen, again, to get back into this at some stage. We were in this for the longest time, Pound Kiwi long, until it turned around and came back on us. But I'm seeing pretty much a similar story that we saw last time, where we've come back inside the range. That's where we traded last time, down here. And we've done exactly the same thing here. Different candles, of course, on the monthly chart, but the net result is the same. We have come back into this, what I call a range, certainly an ascending channel. And we were looking for a way into this to go long again. Big reward potential, and that's why we're so keen to get back into this. I don't see it at the moment with that doji bar on the weekly chart of last week. The daily chart, of course, looks very much like it may have been a bounce off last week's weekly pivot. That has to be treated with caution. I'm sure you would have heard people throughout the show, because it took me so long to get in. I didn't hear a lot of analysis on the currency pairs, but I'm sure you would have heard somebody would have said that maybe Friday's bars are a little bit tricky given the circumstance. And of course, everybody knows what that was. So I would certainly subscribe to that theory. If nobody has raised it, then I'll raise it. I think that's probably a potential problem that we face tomorrow morning, where that reaction, or as a result of the Trump thing, may well be erased, or it may well be confirmed. Who knows? If he, I'm not wishing him ill, right? If he happens to succumb to coronavirus, then things will change very, very dramatically. There's no question about that. So how and why? Well, the why should be evident, and it's very, very clear to me. We've got a double bottom here as well. We've had a higher high now, and perhaps this is the higher low that we're looking for. There's nothing there for me to trade right now because I don't trade bull bars long as a rule. But if we were to get a break of that resistance trade line or trend line, which it is, something like that, take out the high, come back and retest there. That would be interesting. Far more interesting for me would be if we can find something down here on a smaller time frame, maybe the 4-hour time frame, something like, let's go with that. So get back underneath both of those won't be there tomorrow, right? But if we got underneath the trade line and then came back and retested it, then I think we've probably got a trade on our hands long. We're still looking for potentially that higher low, which may or may not be there right now on the daily chart. Don't know. It's a bit of a toss up. So I've sacked Euro Swissy at the moment. That doesn't mean I don't want to trade it when the opportunity arises, but this range seems to be very, very entrenched now. And maybe we need to range trade that for a bit until it becomes clearer exactly how we're going to get through this strong resistance level. I still think we can, and because I keep seeing these signals, this approach and pullback, I need to see that again before I get into a long. Perhaps I'm again better off waiting for support to break and then become a false break. Then we can go from down in this vicinity rather than trying to trade at the resistance area. So that's not on my watch list. So we've got Aussie CAD, CAD Swiss, Pound Kiwi, and I've added one, Kiwi CAD. This time I'm short. The reason I'm short is because we are at the very top, if you like, of this descending channel. Now, I don't need too much to trade this, frankly. I've got price hesitating, very, very clearly hesitating at this level. And all I really need to see is a duck underneath here and then a lower high, and then we're in business. That, of course, is the monthly chart. So we probably be waiting a fair while before that was to be the case. But we have ducked back inside it here, and we've retested that channel. That's not really a trade for me because the channel is a bit of a cloud of a price. And as you can see, it has been violated a couple of times as well. So I'm not really keen to trade that bar, but I would be definitely keen to trade something that does look like a lower high in this vicinity. Having had a sequence now of higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, lower low, and potentially lower high, this may well be again what I'm looking for. I don't see the way to trade that right now unless I was willing to take on that bar there. Maybe I am. But I probably think I'm not going to get that opportunity because, again, I won't be trading in the morning. I don't, as a rule. So it may have to wait till tomorrow afternoon. But that's definitely a clear indicator for me that there's two rejections of this level. Some people might even see that as a head and shoulders. There's definitely the hint of a left shoulder there, a head and a right shoulder. I'm okay with that if that's what you want to see. I'd like very much to see where the weekly pivot will be tomorrow. And again, I haven't done that, but I suspect it's going to be kind of in this vicinity here. Maybe a duck down and then a retest of that area, giving me the lower high that I want is what I'm looking for. And then maybe it becomes a confluence area where we get break above, not only duck below, but break above, then, or maybe even straight away break above, then ducks back underneath, retest that confluence area, wherever the weekly pivot is, and it won't be that far away. I think it'll be here somewhere. Then I think we've got a short on our hands for Kiwi CAD. So there you go. They're the four pairs, Aussie CAD, CAD Swiss, Pound Kiwi, and Kiwi CAD. They're the four that I'll be looking for. CAD Swiss long, Aussie CAD short, Kiwi CAD short, and the only one I'm looking for on the pound this week is for the Kiwi, against the Kiwi, and looking to join that long again that we were in for, as I said, the longest time last month, or was it the month before? I can't quite remember. It's that long ago. It was Saturday yesterday, I think.
Mate, I think it was Saturday. You said probably depends on where you were, mate. For some people, it was probably still Friday yesterday. You never know in different parts of the world. Mate, thank you very much for that. And I've been just doing a couple of things in the background while you've been doing it. interesting time, and I think we might be heading for some range in the next few weeks. And if we have some range in the next few weeks, you will absolutely love that.
Bring it on.
I think there's an interesting setup on the Nasdaq that you'd quite like, but I'll leave you to have a look at that and see whether you like it or not. I think you might have one of your little false breaks of a trade line. I think you might enjoy getting into that not too far away.
I'll have a yarn to Ash about that tomorrow.
Cool, mate. I've just actually messaged Ash about some other stuff as well. Obviously, team, we are heading into chat with Chloe to say good luck to her personally. We'll be in chat about 10 minutes to say goodbye to Chloe. To all of you who've joined us today, I want to thank you very much for your company. Hope you've got some stuff out of this which is actionable and usable and will help your trading for this week. Thanks to everybody who's asked questions today. I've loved the questions today. They've given us some good stuff to talk about. And if you are watching a recording back on this on YouTube or Facebook or anywhere else, congratulations. I think we do it nice and early, so there was a chance to watch this for several hours from now and it'll still be very, very current. So if you've got to this point watching the replay, good on you. I hope you have a great trading week, guys. There's nothing different. Nothing changes. It is about making good decisions, and it's about making decisions based on what you see and not what you think. If you do it this week, you'll have a good week, in my opinion. And my encouragement for you guys is to really make that your goal for the week. Make good decisions based upon what you see, and if you do that, I think things will work out just great for you. Geoff, as always, granddad of the show, love to have you along, and thanks for taking the effort to get in. I know how frustrating it is when the technology won't work. You're not the only one. I know Helen couldn't get into YouTube, into Zoom today as well. A few others haven't managed to get in as well, and a couple having problems with the questions on YouTube as well. So I don't know what it is. But thanks for getting in. I really do appreciate it. And to all the people who have contributed, let me see if I can get this right today. We have had Chloe, and we've had Julian, and we've had Shukri, and we've had Ainslie, and we've had Lloyd, and we've had Ewan. Have I left anyone out? I don't think I have. Thanks, guys. We will see you guys and chat with Chloe reasonably soon, and have a good week. Talk to you soon. See you all.
Bye all.